If you're ever going to steal something through a business. If you steal something as like the common criminal, you're going to get caught because the law has more powers to go above the normal statutes and laws and processes to get the job done. But if you do it through business, there's a loophole because you need certain things for these processes to happen. Rules that are in place stop people from being safe or they lose money. For example, I've been on the phone to legal aid and Vcat for the last 4 hours, and the whole time they've been encouraging me to let something go. I've come to discover what many of other Australians may already know. Even though you might have all the evidence, the video evidence, the photographic evidence, you've got witnesses, testimonies, people will come forward to basically say, hey, this job wasn't done, or someone stole this. Even though it's a free service and it's meant for the people, there's loopholes. Because I can't provide an address, they aren't going to continue the service. So your taxpayer money goes to them so they have these tools and they have these resources to do the job. Because of this one wacky rule, which is, well, you can't know their address, we aren't going to proceed with it. They're overlooking all the evidence. They're overlooking everything. This would never happen if it was a criminal case. But because it's a civil case, even though it's still a criminal type of thing to do, they just won't move forward. And they use their lawyers. I spoke to someone, I had to speak to the next senior advisor because she was feeling a bit overwhelmed because she knows I was coming with that heat, right? They always use these phrases and terminology to sort of get out of the scenario. Like, oh, I don't really know. And, that's not where you specialize here. Look, you can't just go looking for someone's address, right? It's not really a good thing. You could be called a stalker. You're harassing them. Big corporations, laws and policies are in place so people don't give out their address, so people feel safe. Understandable. So why is it that I need to provide an address for someone who didn't provide an address, and I can't even get their address due to the other places legally are not allowed to share information? How do I get an address, get my claim started, if I'm not allowed to get the address? So initially, they're telling me to do something that I'm not even allowed to do myself. Get an address. Well, if the person didn't willingly give me their address, how do I obtain their address legally? Because explain that to me. How do I get an address when you're not allowed to get an address? Are you encouraging me to get a private investigator? There you go. Because now I have to pay more money, which would cost more for me to secure what I need to get, and defeats the purpose. So initially, what have I found out from this process working with Legal Aid and VCAT? If there's not enough pressure put on them by someone with a lot of means, fear of their job being lost, or maybe there is a scenario where they can trump the law and find some loophole which they're more motivated to look for, they're not going to help. And they're going to put you in a position of basic information, because if you don't have an address so they can serve someone with a summons or a claim or whatever they call it, they're not going to keep on going, even though the person's done something wrong, because that's civil law in Australia, it seems. Can I just go find their address? Yeah, if it's public information. How many people have public information of their address out there? You would be dumb to do that, let alone a private contractor who's doing sneaky stuff. So if I can't find the address, and I'm not allowed to illegally find their address, but you're asking me for their address, are you just saying every time someone doesn't have the address, that's it? You lose out. You lose, and you're going to lose your money because it's a civil case. Would that work if this was a criminal case? Do you reckon if someone didn't provide where they lived or where they stayed and it was a threat and they stole $1 million in a criminal way, maybe they went in their house and stole, do you reckon that would happen? No. This only happens in civil because, and it's funny because when people break the rules, they do it because it benefits them. But all of a sudden, you've got all this information. This shows the incompetence and the lack of care and attention to detail for the citizen that these organizations have. I'm not saying in other areas they're not great, but in this area, how can someone be like, look, I have all the evidence, can you just further the claim? And them go, especially at the grassroots level with the customer service and the senior advisors and the senior legal people, they're all being like, oh yeah, well, it's just bad luck. Like, oh, it looks like they cooked you. And they're constantly trying to show that they're trying to be overly bubbly to help you. But at the end of the day, they're doing something wrong. And what they're doing is they're not helping me find the solution without them getting paid. And it's a free service. However, they're like, well, you're going to have to pay someone else. So I have to go pay someone else who is like $1,000 per day to find an address to start a claim in which I have all the evidence for. And that's just okay. But if I did this in a criminal manner, then I'd be in cuffs right now. So what I've noticed here is this is the second time I've gone to legal aid, and I feel like they have failed me. Because when something is an open shut case, if you get the wrong person, or if they don't want to use all their abilities, or if they don't want to call in a friend or network, you're not going to get the job done. So I can't get $400 to $800 back, even though I have all the evidence and the testimonials, and the person's even legally admitted they did something wrong via text, something I can show to a judge because it's inferred, and they admitted that they would come back and do the job, but they didn't. I got all that information, and because I can't find an address, I got their bank account, I got their full name, I got their Facebook, I got their Instagram, I got their email, I got their ABN, I got all this stuff, but because I don't have an address, there's no way they can summon them to court. Vcat and legal aid, you have failed the people. And this seems like a bit of a sob story. I'm crying like, oh, I can't do anything. But this story sort of needs to be told, because it's like, you need to know that these organizations don't really go all out in a lot of areas. And maybe this will change policy, or maybe something will change where they can go to the next level. Or maybe someone will show me, hey, you can go to this level, or you can take this option. They just keep on palming you off to different scenarios. Okay, well, how about you try this organization? There's a whole bunch of organizations, Victorian Business Something, ASICs, Legal Aid, Vcat, Consumer Affairs. They just keep on the police officers, they just keep on palming you off to someone else, and nothing gets done because they are not having the pressure of the law on them. And as long as you don't have an address to put on a piece of paper in an automated AI form, they don't care. But it would be better for me to not have all the evidence and have an address and make a lie, rather than have all the evidence and not have the address. Can you understand how it is a fail on their part where they're not protecting? I'm not saying they did something wrong in terms of making the crime happen, but they're damn sure making it easy for the person to break the law.